So these are the standards and competencies for 5-year-old Filipino children. We are going to talk about the framework, general guiding principles, developmental domains, and curricular themes. In the Philippines, while preschool for 3 to 4 years old is not mandatory, this group of children should be attending preschool so as not to miss critical periods of development and early years. This is followed by mandatory kindergarten at 5 years old before they enter grade 1 the following school year. Officially, under the DepEd's K-12 curriculum, a child is only required to undergo 1 year in kindergarten or preschool when he or she is 5 years old. So the basis is under the Kindergarten Education Act or Republic Act 10157. Republic Act 10157 or the Kindergarten Education Act made kindergarten the compulsory and mandatory entry stage for basic education. Section 2 of this act provides that all 5-year-old children shall be given equal opportunities for kindergarten to effectively promote their physical, social, emotional, and intellectual development, including values formation, so they will be ready for school. The Department of Education believes that kindergarten is the transition period from informal to formal literacy, which is from grades 1 to 12. Considering that the age 5 is within the critical years in which positive experiences must be nurtured to a certain school readiness. Extensive research has shown that this is the period of greatest growth and development, during which the brain continuously develops most rapidly and almost at its fullest. Adults should therefore be guided to facilitate explorations of our young learners in an engaging, creative, and child centered curriculum that is developmentally appropriate and which immerses them in a meaningful experiences. Provision of varied play-based activities leads them to becoming emergent literates and help them to naturally acquire the competencies to develop holistically. They are able to understand the world by exploring their environment as they are encouraged to create and discover, which eventually leads them to becoming willing risk takers and ready to tackle formal schoolwork. Section 5 of the said Republic Act also states the adoption of the mother tongue based multilingual education or MTB-MLE. Therefore, the mother tongue of the learner shall be the primary medium of instruction for teaching and learning in kindergarten. So, what is the Kindergarten Curriculum Framework or KCF? The Kindergarten Curriculum Framework draws from the goals of K-12 Philippine Basic Education Curriculum Framework and adopts the general principles of the National Learning Framework. So, kindergarten learners need to have a smooth transition to the content-based curriculum of grade 1 to 12. The items and rectangles in Figure 1 shows the theoretical basis for teaching learning in the early years, which are founded on constructivism, integrative, thematic, collaborative, inquiry-based, and reflective teaching in play-based approaches with application of the developmentally appropriate practices. These support the principles of child growth and development and the learning program development and assessment. The circles, on the other hand, signify the system of how kindergarten education is to be employed. The interlocked ellipses represents the learning domains that have to be nurtured and equally imparted to holistically developed children. It also forms a flower that portrays the gradual unfolding but steady development as is expected of every child. The child is seen as being in the process of blossoming like a flower bud, whose development should not be forced lest it lose its chance to fully mature. The domains are enclosed by the learning areas children will meet in grade 1 onward, for which they are being prepared. The outermost layer indicates the curricular themes upon which the kindergarten curriculum guide or the teacher's guide is designed. It has been crafted using the thematic or integrative approach to curriculum development in a spiraling learning process. This approach employs integrative and interactive teaching learning strategies as well as child centered learning experiences. So, what are the guiding principles? The following are the general guiding principles of the National Early Learning Framework. We have on the child's growth and development, next on learning program development, and on learning assessment. On child growth and development, so we have here five. Number one, every child is unique. Growth and development vary from child to child, for whom the first 8 years of life are most vital. He or she has the innate desire to learn, and this is best done through meaningful and real experiences. Second, every aspect of growth and development is interrelated and interdependent. The child needs to be nurtured in a good and caring environment that enhances healthy and dependable relationship with other children and most significant adults. Third, the learning and development of every child involves a series of complex and dynamic processes that are best attended to in a more positive and responsive manner. Fourth, the child must be encouraged to aspire beyond one's own level of achievement and to practice newly acquired competencies. And the fifth one, every child is a thinking, moving, feeling, and interactive human being able to actively participate in the learning and development of self in the context of one's family and community, including cultural and religious belief. Now let's move on to letter B on learning program and development. First, we have the learning program is child centered. It promotes the holistic way by which young children grow and develop and recognizes the role of families and communities in supporting the child through various stages of growth and development. Second, the learning program is appropriate for developing the domains and must sustain interest in active learning of all young children, including those with special abilities, marginalized, and or those at risk. The third one, the learning program is implemented by way of diverse learning activities that may be enhanced with multimedia technologies such as interactive radio, audio video clips, and computer enhanced activities. And the fourth one, the use of learning materials and other resources that are locally developed and or locally available is encouraged. So the mother tongue shall be used as the child's language of learning. Now, moving on to letter C, which is on learning assessment. First, we have here assessment is done to monitor learning, know where the child is at, and inform parents of the child's progress. Assessment is crucial to identifying the child's total developmental needs and does not determine academic achievement. Number two, assessment is crucial to identifying the child's total developmental needs and does not determine academic achievement. Number three, assessment is conducted on a regular basis so that a timely response or intervention can be made to improve learning. The fourth one, the result of the learning assessment of a child shall be kept strictly confidential. That's why rating should be more qualitative or descriptive and less numerical. And the fifth one, the family and community must be informed of the general outcomes of learning so as to encourage further cooperation and partnership. Now let's move on to the developmental domains. Developmental domains refers to specific aspects of growth and changes in children. These are represented by the ellipses to show interconnectedness in the holistic development of the children. The contents of each developmental domain are defined by learning expectations as follows. The first one, socio-emotional development or pagpapaunlad ng socio-emotional at kakayahang makipamuhay. Children are expected to develop emotional skills, basic concepts pertaining to herself or himself, how to relate well with other people in his or her immediate environment, demonstrate awareness of one's social identity, and appreciate cultural diversity among the school, community, and other people. Next is values development or kagandahang asal. So children are expected to show positive attitudes, self-concept, respect, concern for self and others, behave appropriately in various situations and places, manifest love of God and country and fellow men. Number three is physical health and motor development or kalusugang pisikal at pagpapaunlad sa kakayahang motor. Children are expected to develop both their fine and gross motor skills to be efficient and effective movers when engaging in wholesome physical and health activities. They are also expected to acquire an understanding of good health habits and develop their awareness about the importance of safety and how they can prevent danger at home and school and in public places. Fourth one is aesthetic creative development or scening. Children are expected to develop their aesthetic sense and creative expression through drawing, painting, and manipulative activities. Aesthetic development involves the love and pursuit of beauty and art, music, and movement, and creates opportunities for the creative expressions of emotions, thoughts, feelings, and ideas. Next is mathematics. Children are expected to understand and demonstrate knowledge, thinking skills, and insights into patterns of mathematics, concepts of numbers, length, capacity, mass, and the time through the use of concrete objects or materials, and to apply these meaningfully in their daily experiences. Children are provided with varied manipulative activities to help them see relationships and interconnections in math and enable them to deal flexibly with mathematical ideas and concepts. Number six, understanding of the physical and natural environment. Children are expected to demonstrate a basic understanding of concepts pertaining to living and non-living things, including whether and use these and categorizing things in his or her environment. They are also expected to acquire the essential skills and sustain their natural curiosity in their immediate environment through exploration, discovery, observation, and relate their everyday experiences using their senses: touch, sight, smell, taste, and hearing. And the last one, language literacy and communication. This domain provides opportunities on early literacy learning for self expression through language using the mother tongue or the child's first language. Children are expected to develop communicative skills in their first language. They are also expected to develop more positive attitude towards reading, writing, and to view themselves as effective users and learners of language. Themes. The outer circle of the KCF corresponds to the interrelatedness of the learning domains, which dictates the way to approach implementation. The daily activities prescribed in the Kindergarten Curriculum Guide or the KCG or the Teacher's Guide is designed as learner-centered, inclusive, and developmentally appropriate to employ an integrative and interactive approach in developing the competencies focusing on the themes shown in this figure. The child and the brain development principles were the basis of the selection of content, concept, and skills, as well as the learning activities. Developmentally appropriate practices consider the developmental task that 5-year-olds in general could tackle at a specific time and as a specific sequence. Thus, these curricular themes adhere to Brenner's bioecological theory that defines layers of environment, each having an effect on a child's holistic development. So let's talk about the first one here. First is myself, concepts and ideas that help the learners understand himself or herself better so that he or she will develop as an individual. Next is my family. These are concepts, ideas, practices that guide the child to be responsible and proud of himself and his family. The third one is my school. Concepts, ideas, practices, and situations that help the child understand how to be an individual and socialize with other learners, teachers, and other school personnel. Fourth is my community. These are the concepts, ideas, practices, and situations, and also responsibilities that the learner should acquire and understand so that he or she will become a functional and responsive member of the community. And the fifth one, more things around me. All other concepts, ideas, practices, situation, and responsibilities beyond themes 1 to 4, but which may be relevant to the community, culture, and interest of the learner. Next is the transition paradigm. Figure 3 illustrates the interrelatedness of the developmental domains and the learning areas. The domain-based skills intended to be developed in kindergarten are aligned to the learning areas. Content-based curriculum to be learned in grade 1. Domains are strategically integrated in the content of the blocks of time as contained in the KCG or teaching guide. Activities tackle different but interrelated domains for the smooth and successful transition of every 5-year-old Filipino child from kindergarten on to grades 1 to 12 basic education. So here is the summary of the domain, subdomain, and component. To end this, let me just pose this question: why preschool is important? Every second of a child's life is spent learning, from learning to use fork or spoon and building sandcastles to reading and socializing. Proper guidance in the form of a great early childhood education can make a tremendous difference. These are my references. Thank you very much and have a great day, everyone.